Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Pima Voices. My name is Savannah, and I'll be your host. Today, I'm sitting down with Julie Bonner, who is a creative entrepreneur, and we are going to be discovering how creativity connects art, education, and community in Tucson. How are you today, Julie?
Great. Those are my favorite topics. I'm really happy to be here.
Perfect. Then you're the right person I'm sitting down with today.
Awesome.
So for people who don't know who Julie is, go ahead and give us a little bit of background about yourself.
Well, I would just say if you're a student at Pima, maybe you've seen me. So I teach here on West Campus in the digital arts program. I teach right now 2 different graphic design courses. I'm also teaching marketing online for Pima.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
that's very fitting for you.
Yeah, it makes sense, right? And so I would say I'm an educator. You mentioned creative entrepreneur. I feel like that covers my background in art and business, and I'd say design, all of the above. I love the term creative because I think that's exactly who I am.
Yeah, it can fall into a bunch of different brackets, right?
Yes.
Like creativity isn't just like one subject, it's many subjects.
Yes.
And you have a lot of fun projects that you've done and worked on. You have a really great resume. I know one of the great things I've seen is like your Desert Dweller flashcards. Those are really fun. Can you tell us a little bit about that for people who don't know what those flashcards are?
Sure. So I have my own product line, actually inspired by my son, Seaver. So when he was 1, we were working on the ABCs. And I felt like some of those tools were a little boring. And so I thought about, let's incorporate our wildlife that we see here in Tucson all of the time. And so I painted a set of 26 desert animals from A to Z, and then used my design skills to turn that into a product that combines all of my favorite passions. So education, wildlife, literacy, into one nice little package that I sell now. So
yeah, they're so cute.
Thank you.
Remember I saw it on social media a while back, and I didn't connect the dots because then I also went to an AZ Tech Council thing with work, and then I was like, oh wait, this is her flashcards. Like it all made sense a little bit later, and I was like, they're so cute. It's such a great idea, especially for like Arizona and stuff. It likes to like A for apple is like kind of boring or whatever.
Boring.
So they can learn a little bit more about animals, about the desert and things like that. And I thought that was like such a brilliant idea. I'm like, how has no one thought of this before?
Thank you. I would say that it is a real passion project. And I share that with my students too, is if you're not exactly doing what you want, then come up with that passion project that really infuses all of your interests. And then you can put it out to the world. And guess what? After I put that out, I received even more opportunities to do illustration and design, package design for more clients. So sort of putting what you want to do more of out there, I think it really works.
Yeah, and I think like too, when you have like a passion for one thing, people can see exactly like what you're good at, what you have the niche for, and then that can help snowball the effects of other things as well. And people see like, oh wow, like I love what she does, and then that keeps going.
Yes.
And so like as a teacher or instructor, like how do you help students balance like that creative expression, but also like the business side? Because it can be really hard as an artist to like brand yourself, things like that, understand like as an artist, you also kind of have to market yourself, which is kind of something that isn't always taught in art classes, especially like I'm an art person and I did fashion, and like they don't always explain that side of the story. And so how do you incorporate that in the classroom today?
Wow. Okay. So I do give talks on this subject, like full on workshops at like Phoenix Design Week and other places. There's so much behind that. And I do think as creatives and artists, it doesn't always come naturally for everyone. So one thing is realizing you don't always have to put out perfection. You can put out some pieces, get feedback, see what people are responding to. Number one, to see if your ideas or art is sort of viable if you want to take it the business route. I think testing, if you want to talk about user experience. So when I'm at an art market, I'm watching you come up to my booth and I'm watching like, what are you noticing? And then I'm also listening to your feedback. That's one of the ways that I created an assorted greeting card set, is because like I had maybe a set of just all Anna's hummingbird, and someone was like, oh my God, I love this bird one and I love this bird one. That would be so nice to have an assorted set. And I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. Let's try it. And so then I printed and created that. And those are my best sellers now, my assorted greeting card sets, besides the flashcards. So I think that's one thing, is sort of having the courage to put yourself out there and then sort of listening and seeing what customers are interested in.
And that can be hard too, because I know like a lot of artists are just like, they're so honed in on their work and like what they put out in the world. It can be hard to listen to that feedback. So what would you say to someone who might be struggling with that sense?
Well, come to my classes, because in this world, I think, especially like if you want to become a commercial artist, feedback's so important and critical to creating work that the client's happy with. And so in my classes, like group critiques are such a big piece of that, is getting feedback on the design work you're creating and then hearing feedback, trying stuff. And ultimately, you're still the final decision maker, putting it out there. And so some projects turn out amazing and you're excited about, some maybe not as well due to sort of the collaboration that's happening. But I think in school is such a fantastic way to hone that skill of like putting yourself. And it's not even, I wouldn't say yourself. You're putting your work out there and you're being open to the feedback that you receive, and then you're tweaking it. And that iterative process is so important in design, in business, in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know like when I took a lot of my classes, like I feel like critique, it could be mixed. Like there's times where I feel like everyone's trying to say something really good, and then you're like, no, like just be honest,
right.
You know? Like I need to be like, I would want to be honest with you.
Yes.
I would want you to be honest with me.
Yes.
So then we can all grow and so forth. And so how do you think like, or what role do you think like with, you know, your students and stuff now, like local artists and designers play in helping shape Tucson? Because Tucson's such a creative hub. And so I feel like we see a lot of the same people sometimes. And so how do you think some of these new artists and so forth can help continue to shape Tucson in that creative atmosphere?
Oh, that's a good question. What I would have to say is I think we're a pretty tight community here, like you mentioned. I'm friends with many other artists and many different mediums. One of the fun things is like having your work at the same place. So like I show my work at the Tucson Gallery, and some of my other friends are like Joe Pagic, the muralist, Jessica Gonzalez, Ignacio Garcia, all these fantastic creatives and artists. We help each other out. I think we stick up for each other. And I think we encourage people, up-and-comers, to get involved. I know in my classes, I saw there's a student show. They're accepting submissions soon. I'm always encouraging students to submit work. And I've had students in the past, number one, show their work at our beautiful gallery, just a few buildings down, to even with some of our projects, we did a winter card, and two of my students' works was shown, turned into the cards from our chancellor, from our Pima Foundation, and they got paid too. And so it was just amazing. Like when you do put yourself out there, the opportunities that can come from it.
I think the moral story is put yourself out there.
Put yourself out. That's gonna be our tagline for today.
Yeah, I know. Put yourself out there. I think that's like the hardest thing for students, right? When you're learning and you're growing and you're trying to understand like what you want to do, how do you want to express yourself. You kind of like with social media, like you said, you see this like perfectness kind ofness. Yeah. And so it's like, no, you don't have to be perfect. It's okay. And and I totally forgot about the holiday cards that we like collaborate with sometimes to get those with the art students. Yes. And we always love that. We always have such a hard time like picking one.
I'm sure.
And we're like, can't we just like have multiples?
Yeah. In fact, one of my classes, I just switched it up and they just did some Halloween ones and they're amazing. I need to post them online. They are so fun.
Oh, I bet. Yeah. I love seeing that sort of stuff. And that's really awesome. Yeah. And so, I mean, you've had a lot of great things. One thing I saw recently on the college's social media was that you worked on a short film that won an award at the Long Beach International Film Festival, and that's something that you co-produced, and that also Pima students were able to help kind of work on and well. How was that experience for you, and then being able to have those students kind of have that opportunity for like real world experience?
We are so proud of this. So credit goes to my husband, wrote and directed this short film. It's 15 minutes. His background's in film. So I think we're a really, I would say like collaborative, creative couple.
I love that.
Yeah. And so my role for the short film, it's called Over Again, was to really support him in all kinds of ways, even helping wrangle the extras. We had a scene at the Century Room last November and had about, I think, almost 40 extras in this club scene. And so just putting call out to my friends, family, some of my past students to be involved. And then as far as the crew, we had some amazing, Darren Barton, he graduated here from Pima. He handled sound. We just had amazing help from Pima Community College students on that production. We are so proud of how it turned out. And then to premiere it in New York, and it was on the beach. So it was these shorts on the beach, really fun, and seeing on the big screen with an amazing slew of other short films. The quality was insane, and we were like, oh my gosh. And then the funniest story is we didn't even know it won until we came back to Tucson, and we landed. We were at the airport, and our phones started blowing up. And we found out it won Best Short Drama. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's so awesome. What a nice little surprise to come home to.
It was a good like dessert topping. You know, it was just like, whoa, you know, it's great.
I love that. That's so great. Congratulations to you and your husband, by the way. And I bet that was a super fun experience. And just also bringing a little bit of that film industry back into Tucson, which Tucson is kind of like famous for, but it kind of hasn't had that.
It's coming back.
Yeah. And so I love seeing and hearing about that. I was like, that's so cool. Like, just makes Tucson a lot more interesting. Not that it's not interesting, but it's just like adds to that whole creative atmosphere that Tucson really is. In that whole collaborative effort. And I'm sure the students love that opportunity as well.
I will add a few other little Tucson sort of fun facts about the film. It's very music focused, and so it features all local Tucson musicians. We reached out to Cameron Hood of Ryan Hood. He wrote the title track song called Over Again, which our lead actor learned and plays in the short film.
Wow.
And then I should have mentioned, I designed the poster, of course. And then even, this is so specific, but even the font side shows were from Laura Worthington. She's an amazing font designer, and she actually lives in Arizona. She lives outside Tombstone, and her fonts are amazing. So just all these fun ways to bring Tucson into the fold was really awesome.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I also just like being around other creatives and just that buzz and atmosphere. I'm sure like everyone kind of like thrives off of it and just like really enjoys it. I know that's like one of my favorite things of like collaborating with people. It's just that like buzz and energy.
Yes.
And you know, with digital media changing so fast, like, and you're like a digital artist. Like, what could you say to artists who are in that medium of like, you know, digital design? Because, you know, there's like the AI and everything, and everyone's just like, oh no, or don't really know what to say or do. And so what advice would you give to those students who are, you know, those sort of designers that are kind of working with AI? Because I know you can work with it. You don't have to work against it. But what advice would you give to those students? Or I guess maybe that could be something that you talk about in your class as well.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting time. And I would say one thing. So I'm officially an Adobe community expert.
That's right.
Right? Yes. Yeah. And so part of that is also staying up to date with what's happening, especially like in our software. So for example, within Photoshop now are some generative AI features. And I feel like it's sort of my duty to teach students how maybe we used to do it, how you can do some of the work now. I don't feel like I'm going to be replaced, and I try to teach that to my students because I know for me, the process of working with me as a creative in Tucson, it's so much more than just the software that I'm using. I always express to them the biggest attribute of each of them is their creative concepting, like what's coming out of their brain, what's coming out of their brain, pencil to paper. Forget the computer. It's really about that beginning part, meeting with a client, asking the right questions, doing that research, doing thumbnails just off the computer. Coming up with those creative ideas I still think that's so important to making each of us really valuable, and then driving that collaborative leadership role in the client process. So not just the client saying, do this, do that, you know, I want this, right? It's helping lead them along the way and pointing out things that you notice and sharing your feelings and feedback based on your research. So really tying it back to the object, like the goal of that project, taking away the personal feeling of it and driving it back to the goals and who's the audience, right? All of those pieces takes away sometimes that feeling of making it feel personal. It's really not personal. It's about like, what were the goals of this work and is this achieving that?
Yeah. And like, I feel like as individuals, like we have a way to express art, right? That like maybe AI can't quite do, whether it's someone's personal, the way they draw specifically, or like you said, it's all like in our mind and how we can comprehend things, which who knows if AI is ever going to get there, but I think that's what's special about being human, is having that sort of connection with art and understanding your client and everything else. And so that's really great advice.
Oh,
I'm
good.
sure like that could be very useful for many people.
Oh, good to hear. Thanks.
And do you have any upcoming projects or goals that you're excited about yourself, or anything that like students should be excited about that are coming up at the end of this year?
Well, one thing I just wanted to, I'm very honored. Right now, I'm the featured artist in the Tucson Guide magazine. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
Thanks. It's a winter edition, and it can be found at like all of these resorts that visitors are coming to, at the grocery stores, you name it. And so it's an honor that not just the locals, but the visitors of Tucson this winter hopefully can learn more about like what I do and about my art. So I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Thanks. And leading into that sort of holiday season. So we mentioned the flashcards, and I have greeting cards. I have more than that on my Julie Originals website. And so I'm gearing up for holiday season, including 2026 calendar.
Yes.
So there's always that rush at the end, like, let's get this stuff done. So gearing up for the holidays is like really my focus right now.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And was there any advice or anything that you want to say to any students who want to like enroll in art classes at Pima, or just in general, any up and coming artists?
Oh, wow. Okay. There's so much.
I know.
I would say number one, come to my classes. I love what I do. I love teaching. I love education. You can see in the classroom, I light up when I'm talking about design, the design process. Even I would say this, especially the business side, because that's something I didn't learn in my undergrad, was the business side of design. So maybe it's not in the class description, but I infuse that knowledge like throughout my class of like an experience when I was freelancing and like how I would do it, or how shouldn't you do it, just because I want them to leave and have those skills and also make money from doing what they love.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm sure they appreciate that so much, because like a lot of times, like I said, that stuff isn't, or that curriculum of like business and marketing isn't quite infused as much within when you take an art class.
Yeah.
But really being an artist, and if that's something that you want to do in your life, you're marketing yourself, your brand, and everything else. And so I'm sure they truly appreciate that you are able to incorporate your real life experience, bring it to the students, and help them set them up for success.
Thanks.
So
I'll add to that. You know how the whole put yourself out there we were talking about. So one of my projects, I have them find a local restaurant whose menu's not so great, maybe needs a little bit of help, and so they'll take a picture of that menu, bring it back, and students redesign that. And so some of them come out so amazing. And so I say, hey, have you ever thought about going back to the restaurant and just showing what you did with their menu? And I had one of my students do that. They loved it, hired her for future graphic design work, and referred her to other clients. So you never
sign up for one of your classes. Every time I sit down with someone, I'm like, crap, another class I have to sign up for.
And I like fashion. I don't teach fashion, but I like it. So,
but a lot of it too can be like, designing prints and things like that for fabric. So it all comes together.
Yes.
But no, put yourself out there. That is our quote of the day. That is our quote for all artists and so forth. And congratulations on all your success within your business. I'm sure, like you said, or like I said, excuse me, like you're a vital part to that art education, and then bringing your influence and your experience, I'm sure really helps students thrive and continue and give them excited about what they want to do. So thank you for sitting down with me today, sharing a little bit about yourself, some advice, and just having people get to know you a little bit better as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And I will see you all next week, and have a good day. Bye.